Hold on, so I should share my screen. You see my screen?
All right, yep.
Very cool. All right, this week wasn't too much going on. As you can see, I finally, after so many red weeks, I finally have a green week, but I ended Friday with a loss. But that's just a testament of saying if you keep your losses small, even though I'm still red on the month, it's not bad. Like on Monday, I have a possibility of still breaking even on the month. And red months eventually going to happen, especially like in your beginning stages. And I'm completely aware of that. And I'm just embracing the process behind it. Um, Particular trades that stood out this week would just be on Monday, which was it's Monday, the 23rd. Yep. All right. So on Monday, I traded ENZC, and I traded ENZC again, and then ALYI. All right. Did you look at TSMP that
TSMP.
yesterday? Yeah.
No, I didn't even look at it. Like as soon as,
Uh,
yeah, because I know if had I sticked around, I probably would have tried to trade it again. So I was like,
oh, you left early?
yeah, like as soon as 10:15 hit, I was like, I'm gone.
That's probably the smartest thing to do. I didn't yet. It was my first time with that just 1 o'clock finish.
Mm-hmm.
But oh snap, team! I didn't even see that ENZC broke out like this. It was off my radar. Um, but regardless, I traded it on the 23rd, which was the day it broke out over this high right here, and pretty much entries and exits. And I traded it multiple times, but it was I just trying to get a feel of it. My first initial attempt, you see, I got a loss on it, just entering a bit too early,
Mm-hmm.
seeing selling actually at the dead bottom. But then when I saw that it was adjusting and it gave me a clear to like, just have good risk reward, just seeing that it bottomed out of that 24 entry. And again, back pretty much my same entry right at 0.025, risking off of 0.024 and selling in parts up to here. And of course, keeping the same thing, noticing that little 11 time period on OTCs. I always want to get out before 11 a.m. before they fade off. And that leaves just the opportunity to possibly play them in afternoon, but I didn't see an opportunity in the afternoon on this day, even though I should have probably got a position on it in the afternoon because it did hold green throughout the day, even when it was trying to go red. You can see it tried like dipping down for real, especially towards the end of the day, but it held strong. Then we got that huge, massive gap up, which I'm super happy about because OTCs they haven't been gapping up, but you got this one right here now, so that's a cool thing to know just in my stat sheets that OTCs are starting to, you're moving with that trend now, recognizing that trend. But yeah, that was pretty much my nice little trade on ENZC. Then I got ALYI or a OTC first green day, which I was kind of about because normally I don't. play OTP first Green Day, but since I've been tracking it, I decided, hey, why not? Let's go with what the stats say. And this was the day where all the EVs were really, really hot. So in OTC land, ALYI is one of those tickers that runs with the what's it called? The EVs.
Oh, it does. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, ALYI is like an EV. It's in the EV sector. Same as DSGT, but I don't really mess with DSGT just because it's so choppy. And ALYI isn't really that good of a stock either. You see, if you go to like, I don't know if you can you see my the daily chart on the right hand side?
Yeah, I can see it.
Right. Well, on the daily chart, you can see that this stock, it really just, besides when it was really hot in September, but no, October-ish, it's really just a one-day failed spiker stock. So, yeah, that one-day run, then red next day, one-day run, red next day, one-day run, red next day. So I came in with the same intention, with the same game plan on the 23rd, knowing that I didn't want to swing this position, like potentially swing it. And you see it's kind of choppy-ish, but the two things that really stood out to me and gave me confidence to trade it was at 12 o'clock, the news had just hit. So right here is when the volume really came in. And you see it just popped away to 0142. I really do want to be able to start attacking these front sides of the moves, but it's just something I got to work on. But I did get in on a dip. Um, And again, I did sell a little bit too quick. I did enter two times on this ticker again, selling my first position, but then recognizing what the risk reward was, and then going off of that, I got in my first position right here at 13, 13, yeah, 013, and then I sold at 0132 um just because like I recognized that I didn't give the stock enough time to decide what it was going to do right off the news. I tried to just get in right off the initial dip, and
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes you just have to let time be a factor in when you're trading. The more time, the more evidence, and the more information that you have behind your trade. So where did it go? So after I sold this initial position, I got back in at 0.0126. So right here, and I was really just risking off of this low right here, 0122. So I think I was risking less than that, to be honest. Yeah, so I was really risking $40 to gain 230, which is, I love trades like that. That means that I'm trading. That's a well planned trade. It was really well executed. Um, so those are the two trades on Monday. I want to go over a failed trade that I really didn't do good on, or what I should have done better on. Uh, I'm gonna skip this ALPP day right here. Nothing too important about that. But then we can ADOM on the 25th. All right, so I wanted to play ADOM as a first Green Day bounce. Something that just based off the statistics that I've been tracking, see this day right here. It yesterday. It came from a high of 96.9, and then it just never gave any type of bounce. It just went kind of straight down, and it pretty much was down about. I think it was down about 40%, 40, 50% without giving any bounce. And when stocks do that, I'm looking for that next day, because normally that next day offers a bounce. And that's exactly what I did. Even though my entry was on point, I didn't execute this trade at all. Sometimes just because you have profits on the table does not make you a profitable trader. You have to let your winners run, especially when your thesis behind the trade is valid. So my thought behind this trade was, oh, I didn't bring it up. Whatever, I'll just explain it. Alright, my thought behind this trade was, alright, let it dip in the morning. I knew it wasn't going to dip that much just because, well, it did offer a little bit of panic, but I knew that it was going to set a bottom very quickly because it already had panicked about 40% just from yesterday, offering any bounce. And knew that in the morning time, wherever I enter, would be very, very good reward, good risk reward. And I actually got in almost close to the bottomish at rank 54 especially because since I almost hit the dead bottom, or just I count this as the dead bottom because I know that if it gets under where this stock where this closed, that I should cut my loss because my thesis isn't valid anymore. But anyway, I got in at 50.01, and my plan behind the trade, these dead like the pump bounces, want to get at least 10% of your money, and I just sold way too soon. Only getting 4% right around at 52.2. So that in itself, normally my losses are about 4%. So this one just kind of canceled out with what a loss could be, which just makes it why you puts the importance of why you should let your winners run. Uh, and you can see my thesis, like everything was valid behind the trade, like just looking at the information now in hindsight. But I had really just didn't have any reason to sell. It was giving me, yes, it was a little bit illiquid, but I would have, like, if I stuck to my plan and just let it ride to 11, I would have been able to get my shares off. My position size wasn't too big. I think it was only, uh, I mean, this, yeah, you see, it started doing the swizzle at the end of the day, kind of right when it broke over that red green mark, and it did pop off. But I was in at that. Yeah, I could have sold into the swizzle, to be honest, but I wasn't gonna think about that, and I took my eye off it when it, like, the afternoon came. But this is just an important fact, just to let your winners run. This could have easily kind of turned my whole month green in a way, but because I didn't let it run, it basically counted as just negligible, will even out with just my losses, because this should have easily been, like, you see how my losers are 4%, and my winners have to be bigger than 4% or 5%. That is very important to really let your winners run. Um, Other than that, I really don't have too many things to talk about. Besides, I want to talk about TSMP stuff, but I didn't really trade it. Just looking forward in hindsight, we know we're going to get
Oh
a
wow.
great, great panic out of this one.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah,
Yeah, you see it.
yeah, that's a huge right there.
So, yep. So on Monday, that is what I will be looking
Well,
for.
okay. Well, explain to us then.
But
What are you going to be looking for on Monday? Like what levels?
on on Monday, I'm going to be looking for a panic, but this time, because this is so extended, I want it to be, well, it has to be under 30% right off the bat, but I'm thinking like the perfect panic would be right out the gate, like 50%, especially just knowing how this stock just moves. Like, and the amount of just range that it does have when the volume really kicks in. I'm expecting a 50% panic off of wherever the open is. Hopefully, it doesn't gap up either because Tim Sykes is in as well. So if it doesn't gap up at all, create even more of just the downward pressure. And I don't even, like, particularly, I really don't even know why he swung the stock just because it's up 168%. But he know what he doing. He's a good trader, so. But his followers are definitely going to the stock down if it panics. But uh, key levels to look for also too is just previous breakout lines. So let's say this thing really sells off and goes all the way back down to three cents, or I wouldn't even say that's a little bit too much, but probably like 5 cents, that range. Definitely looking for a major panic though. But that's it. Oh, one last thing that I did. It's just a lesson to learn. I was overtrading on Friday, just getting chopped up into HT CGQ. See, we got this kind of sell off right here. We closed at 141. I'm in from 146. I don't know why I didn't sell into this freaking just straight downward thing, but I just didn't want to sell into this weakness because it was just like it was ridiculous how much this thing sold off. I feel like it was just out of fear how it sold off this much. Hopefully we hold 140 and I'll just sell into a pop for a small loss. I don't have that big of a position, so I'm not too worried about it. But the reason I was in it was just I just kind of breaking my rules a bit, trying to anticipate this breakout over 150. I believe if this over 150, the next range little hit is that $2 range, and that's what I was trying to anticipate for. But it never the bidders never really stepped in to push the stock over this breakout over 150, and it touched that 149 and just sold really off. But we'll have to just see. But that's it.
I definitely would
So,
love to see that in the twos.
what you say?
I said I definitely would love to see that in the twos.
Yeah, I definitely think it can get over the twos, but it has to just break out. And I shouldn't be buying it right now, just because I'm just trying to anticipate it, and that's the reason I'm in a losing position.
Right.
But my position size is small, so like I only have two K shares, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, that's it for me.
All right, let me just get mine up. All right, can you see my screen?
I'm hopping on stream now. Yep.
All right, so for me, I think overall this week, I'm starting to get a little bit more confidence in the process, the MIC process and stuff like that, and it's starting to show up on my trades. Let me pull up Profitly. Well, I guess I could put up TradeView. TradeView and Profitly. Just a second. So this week actually just put me green on the week. On the month. Um, so this week I made 1,700, and really it was just based upon just a few trades. Now, the one that I want to go over is FCell. FCell was like a picture perfect of a first red day. Now, this loss right here is actually a wash between these two, so a wash sell. So I didn't lose 913. That's one of the things too that I'm proud of myself about this month. I think my biggest loss this week was this Mara, and that was actually just following somebody's alert, which is something that I rarely
It was
do.
only 239.
Yeah, 293. That was my
Yeah,
biggest
that's good.
loss of
Yeah,
the
that's really good.
week. But there's actually one trade into one. Is a wash sale, so I end up making like 200 something bucks off of this one trade here. But the one that was like picture perfect was F cell, and I'll pull up my chart for it. That was on the 24th. Where you can see my fills. And the reason why I say it was like picture perfect because as soon as the stock hit red on the day, it just tanked. As you can see here, I did a quick scout during pre-market. Once I saw it bounce to this VWAP line, so I used that as for a small position. Then as soon as it went down, I saw it wasn't breaking down, so I just got out. And of course, in the morning, you had this this big spike. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit more. All right, so we have this spike, and one thing about it too, what I've been doing is being patient on whenever stock goes red. I know the first time it tests, it generally want to bounce because you have this big, this big spike, then you have this big fill. So momentum is not gonna drive it to go red because a lot of time if you're shorting over here, you're looking to cover right here. And plus you have momentum buyers want to come in and they're gonna try to support the stock. So saw the bounce, I waited. Then I knew, and now on the second bounce, normally that's when I want to come in. Now I didn't short this on the second bounce because this was a sector play, and looking at the leader at the time, which was I want to say Neo. Neo was actually bouncing. So once I saw Neo was bouncing, I knew not to try to get short into this little this little fail right here. But I waited till the afternoon. As soon as Neo, I saw that was like still red or holding red, because at the time that had already went red. It was just like once you take the head off the snake, the body or all the sympathy plays, they tend to want to follow. So as soon as this went red, I shorted like 2,000 shares right here. And the risk was like if it pops over red, the red green line, and I was just gonna get out. So I was risking on that play maybe like 60 or 80 bucks to potentially make 1,000. So as soon as it tried to bounce a little bit, but it never got to the red green mark, I knew that was it for it. So once it started going down, I wasn't expecting this much. I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a quick 50 cents based upon the wash. So I started covered in parts, and that way I was a little bit more comfortable. I did put another order in right here because I was actually expecting this to bounce off of here to retest it again to eventually fade. But unfortunately for this, it bounced and just kept going lower. So that was
It's
okay.
just one thing. Just you gotta, like I was saying earlier, you got with trades like that. This was a scenario where time was your friend. So instead of, you see how within those minutes you were covering,
Yeah.
could have slowed it down just because you recognizing like, oh snap, this is really working for me.
Right, but it just
But
for
yeah,
me in the past when I play red green after the first washout that it have after it goes red, you get a strong bounce that retest. So I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is gonna, you know, it's gonna wash have a quick wash because this was in matter of like 2 or 3 minutes. So I was up with probably like 5 minutes. I was up 1,000. So I was like, whoa, anytime
oh,
that I'm up
he
that
said
fast.
let me lock that in.
Yeah, anytime that I'm up that fast, I'm like, okay, let me lock it in because normally there's gonna be a bounce, especially if you have a hard crack and it's just quick panics. Then there should be a bounce. It did bounce, but the bounce only got right here. I was expecting it for it to get
Okay, yeah.
back over here. So because that didn't happen, I was like, man, I missed out on the because of course I couldn't really predict that it was going to do all of this. Because if I said
Yeah, the real fade.
yeah. Had I said I because in this market, especially for Nasdaq, the dips get bought up. you know, so it's not like it was like last year where if a stock goes red, it's gonna continue to keep fading red. But with since stocks like to bounce, I rather just do a nail and bell, and plus around the holidays and stuff like that. So I don't know what's gonna happen. So that was
Yeah, for that nail. I like it for that, like what you said, nail and bell.
yeah, nail and bell on the short side. So and I don't even have any like memorable losses. Because I try to keep it as small as possible. Like I said, this one right here was I followed the alert, and also BTBT I followed an alert as well. This one right here,
Who alert? Oh, you're rolling.
yeah, rolling. So I was like, yeet, not doing that again. Like matter of fact, I said, oh, okay, this I guess this would be a memorable loss. So with this was OGI. Let's see if I have it here.
It's still under 5% though. So
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to keep everything as
that's
small as possible. With OGI,
you
this
know,
was just I was anticipating like a sector move, marijuana. So on minimize this, clear this up too. All right, so on OGI on this day, I saw ACB, which is one of the leaders in the marijuana sector. After hours, it popped up out of nowhere. So my mindset was like, okay, this may be a continuation play due to the fact that it just popped up. There must be some type of, there wasn't really no news or anything like that was announced. But I'd seen this and I seen others in that sector. They're just moving up. ACB, Kron, that was another one, and Telray, I think that was called. Like all of those, they were just up. So normally for me, anytime that I'm trying to play a sector play, is I look for the one that's laggard in that sector. So OGI was the one. It here. What date was that on? Let me see again. That was on the 24th. All right, so on this day, okay, so I did the move, pre-market, after hours in pre-market. Then during the morning, it started fading down. So I figured since it went above VWAP and the other ones was holding up green as well, I took a stab at it during after hours, expecting like maybe another gap up to get, to even maybe go close to where it was at during the sector play. And I think that was around like $2. $2, or if it got to $1.70, like somewhere around here, I'm thinking we're gonna have a gap up the next day. Unfortunately, we didn't. ACB, that was like down a buck during pre-market. So as soon as I saw it was down a buck pre-market, because it crushed my whole thesis. My whole thesis was to, if this has a continuation, which it didn't, had this gap down the next day. But if it had a continuation, then this would be another breakout somewhere like around in the 10s or 11, which would also cause OGI to have a breakout. Now, I saw this yesterday as well, but I was like, nah, you fooled me once, you ain't gonna get me again. Because the same thing happened with ACB. Had this parabolic action. So now, a few things that I think that I could improve on. My trade on work, or not work, SRNE. SRNE. I caught this during pre-market, and I was just looking at the lines, and you can see. I'm gonna show you my execution versus, and this was the plan initially. All right. So as you can see here with SRNE, had this big gap up. Then during pre-market, it just kept holding above here.
These are one of those broken charts.
Death line play. And the idea behind it was as soon as it cracked the death line, to go ahead and go short. So I did miss this part right here. But luckily, I was able to see the rebound. So with the rebound, I waited. I looked at it. I waited for it to hit the death line and just to see what it was doing. As soon as I saw it couldn't pass the death line. So I got in at 790. So 9 cents. So essentially, I was risking losing $100, and I knew the cover area was going to be right around here, or at least if it gets to here, take a piece off and cover the rest right here. Because a lot of time, once it have this flush and it does the bounce, it tend to want to do it like a double bottom, or if it doesn't do a double bottom, it may just keep having a continuation. So I had that in mind. So I had a lot of good factors that I was looking at. It was below VWAP, which I love, especially if I'm shorting. Had a bounce. It's before 10:30, the zombie rule. So I got in short, and I just started covering like at 786, 782, and I covered the rest at 760 something. So let me show you my average on this. Like this easily could have been a $300 play because I shorted 1,000 shares, but I'll end up only making 57 because I was just that of a wreck. I'm like, yo, I'm up. Let me go ahead and just put this money in. Bro, this was $57, man. So overall, from what I was risking $100, but I knew I could have made $300 because the lines. I mean, like I said, the lines is the lines, and if I just stick to it, You know, overall, because risking to lose $100 to make 300. I mean, that's good odds every day. That's a 1 to 3 or 3 to 1, however you say it. Um, so those are good odds over time. Even if I was wrong on this, the time that I'm right is gonna outweigh the time that I'm wrong, and so I think that's another thing that I need to really work on. Um, Even on works. X. And I have my lines drawn out as well too. I knew to so I let me show you the trade initially on it. So the first time around I got the trade, but on the bounce I knew, and this was from Friday. That's the wrong. That's the wrong one. Where's works at? Okay, here it is. All right. So stock was uptrending during pre-market. Then out the gate, it had this big flush. And the first line that I knew, because normally whole and half dollar marks, those are definitely like psychological resistance points. And the more and more I'm starting to play these stocks, the more and more I'm starting to see that, the whole and half dollar mark, how truly they do work. So I got in after the flush. I really didn't wait for the bounce. Then it had another secondary drawdown. Once I saw it started stacking up, I was like, yep, let me go ahead and get out. So I got out. So initially, I put my order right here at 250. This 250 line, and looking to get out if it passed pre-market high of 267. So initially, as soon as it hit 249, had a little flush. Then once it was trying to reach 250 again, I canceled my order. I was like, nope, let me not do it. I'm already thinking I'm about to lose. This is about to rip up. Instead of me trying to anticipate, and this is what I think even on the long side a lot of people do. They try to anticipate it versus just letting the move happen. So I had my short order. I canceled it because I figured it was gonna rip up high of day since it started, getting a little bit of momentum. But nope, it started failing. And even if I just stuck to my risk level, which was the 267, I would have had this fade here. And eventually I think it got down even lower than that. But the whole point to this, what I think is like just trusting in the process, just trusting in the lines, because for me it actually does work. And the last trade for me was Riot. And again, this is me not trusting in the line. I think I lost like $2, like after commission and all that. And this was another trade that I could have made another $200 to $300 on Friday. Instead, I think I only made like 260 on Friday. So had I just stuck to all the plans that I had in motion, Friday could have been an easy $600-700 off of just playing just the low hangers. So here it is, right here. Matter of fact, I got it on TradeView. See. Alright, here it is, right. I'll make it bigger. Alright, that's the biggest it could get. So again, with this, I had the 650 as the line, the whole and half dollar line. And this is what I was waiting on in the morning. I was waiting for a bounce. The whole reason why I was waiting on this stock to bounce was because it had this nasty gap down from 708 and it opened around like 6, so like close to $6. So I was planning to scale this 650. Then the next line for me would have been 7. I probably would have stacked up a lot more had it got to 7. But this first part right here, I miss. I missed it on the way up, which I think sometimes may be a good thing just to watch it go, hit the line and see how I reacted to it. But once I saw this candle here, this candle started going down and it had this quick flush. I got short at 651 and I actually went with 1,000 shares. First, I was gonna build up to 1,000, but since I saw that how it bounced off of since it passed the 650 and it started regressing, I figured I could do 1,000 shares here. If I'm wrong, just cut it right here. So easy. So another $100, and the plan was to cover right here. And this is like everything is for me is already pre-planned out in my head. This is what I'm gonna do. This is my stop. So before I even enter the trade, so I got in. Then between this like 3 minutes, 1, 2, 3 minutes, I'm already getting out at like 650. And the reason why I got out at 650 is because I saw a huge bid order um, sitting at 650. This was like, I think they were soaking up maybe like over 200,000 shares. And mind you, this is an SSR stock. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want to get caught up on this. But at the same time, there was somebody on the 651 ask that was soaking up a lot of the shares as well too. So for me, I think my issue was on this. Like automatically, I'm reverting to like, oh, I'm about to lose money. Let me just go ahead and get out. Like if for me, it's since it's already pre-planned that I'm okay with losing $100. I shouldn't get that nervous to want to say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cover and just to lock in some so that way I don't lose $100. And I need to just have more confidence in, okay, if I'm willing to lose $100, that's not a big deal. It really is not. If I lose $100 to try to make 300, that's good odds
Sure.
that I should want to take like every day. So whoever was on the 651, they were just soaking. And meanwhile the 650 was just slowly decreasing. So to me now, just looking at it from hindsight, is like, okay, it could have just been someone trying to build up a big position to be able to short. And sure enough, like immediately after I covered literally on this candle right here. Like as soon as it hit 650 was taken off, boom, this thing slammed down, and it got to the line that where I wanted to cover at. So again, it's just me needing to trust the process because I see this happen time and time again. Um, on Wednesday, I trusted the process on or was it? It was one of those days. I trusted the process. I just kept scaling up, 650. This was on KXIN. And this was a really good trade because I was just doing small bullets. Then as soon as it goes red, just go ahead and just hit the ask. Like had here at 8, had another here at 6. 850. Then my next order was at 9, but it never got to 9. And of course, since I was in so small, like I let it do a thing. I end up covering because I thought it was gonna maybe rebound again. So I made a little bit, but once
So
I
this is a case where I'm sorry. This was a case where you used that 30%.
yeah 30%. Up, I'm just scaling up 30% since it's above VWAP. And as soon as it goes red, I mean not go red, but get under VWAP or it's confirming in your direction, that's when you're supposed to slam on the your full size and just risking maybe
Mm-hmm.
the next line up. but scaled it like throughout all this move, this big range. Like I was comfortable, I wasn't sweating like oh my god because by the time they got to here, I was only down like $100. So $100 that was really nothing. So just let the stock shake out, do its thing. Then on this here, I felt like once it passed this, it should have just kept going. Since it didn't, I was like, yeah, let me just get out. Since I felt like it was just reclaiming this little dip area. And of course, it goes straight to VWAP up here, intraday VWAP.
Jax.
Then once it got under intraday VWAP, then I was like, okay, let me just go in full size, 1,000 shares, risking off of this top here. And sure enough, it just had this wash, and I just covered. And I even bottom ticked it over here. But that
Right
just
there is just another. That's just another place where you can add some more or get your full size in on that VWAP, like when it pushes toward VWAP and it rejects.
right. Yep. And another reason why I just stopped out, well, not stopped out, but got out and didn't want to put another. It was due to the time. It was about to be 10:30,
Yeah.
and sure enough, this is why zombie it really does. Where is it at here? Is it here? What was it? 'Cause I think it ended up ripping up. Oh no, I guess it didn't. It just bounced. Yeah, it did the bounce at. There's 10:30 bounce. But overall, though, I just wanted to stick to the process. So, but now I'm really starting to get more and more comfortable, and I could truly see how Alex and other members in MIC, are really killing it just by sticking to the process and not trying to deviate from it. And I feel like going into December and start of the January and stuff like the new year, I think by me continuing to, because I learned like this. You could tell me like what to do, but until I do it and until I do it repeatedly, like religiously, then I'm not really gonna learn. And I think for me, like when I joined MIC, okay, I heard what you were saying, but I was still doing my thing a little bit. I was like, this is what got me, to here. I'm gonna implement some of your rules, and that's why I was seeing like mixed result.
Results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally, and it's crazy. I joined MIC when like late April, no, probably beginning of May, and the last week and this week, is actually the 2 weeks that I actually been implementing their process like fully, not just dibble and dabble. I'm talking about
It took you this long.
yeah, it really took me this long, and ever since the 2 weeks, I've really been seeing like better results. So now that I'm seeing better results, now I'm starting to become a believer. The same thing when I was learning Duck's strategy. Like I knew about his strategy, but it was taking me, it was taking me longer to be able to implement it. So once I started seeing results, then I was like, okay, I'm fully committed. So it's sad for me to be that way, but that's how my mind is programmed.
It's all a part of it. It's all a part of the plan.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. Like for me for the week, I think overall though, like going into December, um, it don't look like the market is gonna slow up. Just based upon
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm excited.
yeah. So with that being
Wish I did.
yes,
So
So with
With
that being said,
I do have.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask with MIC, like, do you really like the long highest teachers as well, or you don't even pay attention to it, just sticking to what Alex and Val they're teaching?
Right, yeah, because I don't really go to the large cap room or anything like that. I mean, I if it's something like a breakout on on Tesla, I know they banked on that one, but like if it's like something big that's gonna happen within the large cap, I may stick my head in there just to see. But yeah,
Do
people
you know? Well, you don't even know. Never mind.
no,
Is that? I wonder. I was just wondering, like, is it? Does it still like what type of money do you need to put in to gain, consistent type of like good profits? If you know what I'm trying to say,
with them, I think if they're doing large cap, they're doing options with it.
just options.
Yeah, then the other people who have like
Okay.
a big bankroll or whatever, then they're just buying the stock
Yeah.
itself.
Okay.
Because sometimes even in large cap, people tend to do use margin due to the fact that it's not really a big swing in the large cap, but it's good enough where if you use the margin, like let's say 70,000. If you use $70,000 on margin, I mean that's still a good chunk that you could make off of the large cap.
Yeah, that is a lot. Shoot. Man. Like I told you, that's gonna be my Christmas present to myself.
To,
Either I've made like the way it's looking right now, since I'm red on the month though, it's looking like I might just start off with a monthly,
yeah,
just starting in January just to get my head in there, and then eventually I want to get into that. I wanted to just start off with the annual, but then
yeah,
I'll get the annual.
gotcha. Yeah, no, that's how I
Yeah.
started off because like once I had I want to say I had my first red month. Um, not my first red month, but like I had a red month back in I want to say April. And like the video that they made, they're like, if you lost more than this on the month, you should at least give us a try. And I was like, you know what, that actually makes sense. I think that month I lost like 600 bucks or something like that. So I was like, you know what, that does make sense. Let me just go ahead and just see what it's about.
So let
Just
me get in there, try to learn something.
yeah. Then
Bro,
immediately
I
like
really. Is it like they do a whole lot of promotional stuff? Do you feel like it's getting more flooded now with new people and newcomers, or you don't even pay attention to that?
nah, I don't really pay attention to that because they have like the main chat. It's like very structured, so it's not like a lot of noise or anything like that. It's people really
Okay.
just alerting and saying, "Hey, this and this. This stock is moving. This stock is at this level. This stock is about to approach VWAP." And it's like, you know,
Alright.
yeah. Versus like people talk about all type of stuff, but they do have a room for that, like after hours.
But I can't. I mean, people talk about stocks in Tim's chat,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just so like they're just not like it's always just about money.
Yeah.
It's not about like no process or this. It's always someone just like I just made 10,000 a day. Thank you, Tim Sykes. And
Nah.
then he's over here. He's over here. Congrats! Like I'm
Yeah.
like, man, come on, bro. Like this isn't really what this is about. But I can't wait to get into that just to see what it's really about.
Right. Yeah. Matter of fact, let me just see if I can show it to you.